New at 6, the internet has changed the way children learn, communicate, and play, but it's also altered the number of threats both kids and adults may face. Larger law enforcement organizations have task forces dedicated to fighting cybercrime. WGEM's Robbie Tucker spoke with Marion County, Missouri authorities to see how local agencies are keeping up with online predators.
For investigator Colin Ennis, fighting cybercrime is more than a job.
I've got skin in the game, essentially, with having kids. They're pretty young right now, so they're not quite at the stage of getting their own social medias. I know it's coming, but yeah, there's a lot of motivation, especially since it's my community that I'm living in.
Ennis has worked for the Marion County Sheriff's Office for 7.5 years and has specialized in cybercrime for the last year. In that time, Ennis has seen an influx in cases of predators trying to entice children online. He says every month he sees 4 to 5 cases cross his desk involving Marion County children, up from just 1 or 2 when he first started. Predators use a variety of social media and gaming platforms to try to establish contact with kids. Parents should look out for ones with chat rooms and disappearing or anonymous messages, and take advantage of parental controls when possible, before cutting the cord.
The internet's not bad, but bad things happen on the internet. Just like cars are great. They get you from point A to point B, but they can be dangerous. So that's why we wear a seatbelt in the vehicles. So I've been telling kids, just like how you wear your seatbelt in your car, is you should be wearing your seatbelt on the internet.
Ennis says establishing trust and open communication between parent and child is the first step in staying safe online. In Palmyra, Missouri, Robbie Tucker, WGEM News.
Ennis says anyone who has witnessed a cybercrime, like an enticement of a child, should not delete any of the messages or evidence, but rather call local law enforcement or file a report at missingkids.org.